Perhaps the biggest update to Arc Raiders to date is around 36 hours away from us. A new map, a new condition, large archetype, and even more is coming, so today we're taking a look at everything that you need to know in order to be ready for that in the busy week ahead. Drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all things Arc Raiders. With Riven Tides and beyond, we're gearing up for a lot upcoming, so I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, let's get into it because there is a lot to talk about. First and foremost, when does the Riven Tides update launch? Well, it starts this Tuesday, the 28th, and as of recording, this has not been officially confirmed. However, each of the last dozen or so updates has started to roll out around 2 a.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. in the UK. This will likely be a sizable download by comparison to other updates we've seen recently, though by comparison to other updates for games out there in the industry, it might not necessarily be as big as you're anticipating. For context and comparison, the Steam update for the Flashpoint update this past month was about 1.2 gigabytes to 1.4 gigabytes in size, while the last map that we saw with the Northline update back in November, that introduced Stella Montis and was around 9.4 gigabytes in size. So sizable by comparison to what we've seen recently, but again, grand scheme of other games out there, it's still not that big of an update, but just something to note. One quick note also in regards to the launch time that you should know, we're actually losing the high gain antenna project. This is a real last second mention of this year. We've talked about it a few times in videos leading up to this, but it's going offline in a few hours as of recording this video. Only around for the last month, you have 3 pages that are heavily focused on the Flashpoint content, that mostly funneling you towards the high scrutiny mode, though some of it also can be found in regular couriers, probes, and things like that. But that project is being removed. Whether or not it's removed for another project we see with the Riven Tides update on Tuesday, I personally think we'll see that, but we'll touch on that in a second. But anyways, make sure you're completing that while you still have the opportunity to. But Tuesday, the 28th, at around 2 a.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. in the UK. Now, so far, Embark and Arc Raiders has not allowed for any preloads, so just know that going in, that the update will hit, start rolling out, and then you can download it from there. But as for the content coming, we know of a couple of major pieces here that were already debuted by the roadmap back in January that we had, where we'll have a new map, new large archetype, new map condition, and the expedition window opening up. Now, the new map, we've seen teasers leading up to this, our beachfront hotel mixed with some recreational areas, and a bit of a port and shipping yard that we see here at this. We still haven't seen a sort of top-down level of this. We've seen 3 individual teasers and then 1 larger teaser that was introduced as of this past Friday into the public realm. Garnt RPG, a fellow art creator, got some early access to the map and showcased a bit of the map a bit further, but very minimal beyond the areas that we already saw teased, just like different perspectives and a more in-game personal look at that rather than the cinematics that we saw showcased there at this. Now, the large archetype, strangely, this has not been mentioned in any capacity just yet, with a slight asterisk on that. Some considering that it could be the Bishop, as it's dubbed, because we've seen that for so long, but I'm partially leaning towards it not being what we see just yet, almost as a contrarian because we've seen it that long, and we've seen so many other archetypes introduced. Before that, I'm still kind of like, well, I feel like we might not see it this time around. It might get glossed over once again. Not to mention, again, that asterisk in that Garnt teaser, it sounded like the fluttering or flying of some kind for a new arc that he said he can't show yet. So maybe it's something that's another flying type arc here that we see of this. Now, the new map condition, that is anybody's guess. We did just recently see that there were a few leaks that ended up popping up through the game files that could indicate one of 5 that we've seen here at this, but again, nothing explicitly mentioned about what that new map condition will be. As for the expedition window opening up, we've discussed this before. Damage is the focal point this time around for the additional skill points. The window was recently extended from 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, noon in the UK on the 28th until midnight, 3 a.m. Eastern, and 8 a.m. in the UK on May 11th. So that means pending no catch-up skill points, any coins and stash value you've had saved up, you can end up spending that if you'd like. It all resets anyway. Me personally, just for the hell of it, I'm probably going to spend like 1,000,000 coins on launcher ammo because why not? What else am I going to spend it on? Utilize all those items in your inventory: Hall Crackers, Jupiters, Equalizers, Aphelions, Anvils, Torrentes, whatever you got, bring it in. Don't be afraid to lose it. Deadlines, Wolfpack, Secret Grenades, all that kind of stuff. Great options for getting the damage up against larger arcs, or again, if you really want to, you can end up doing it against other enemy raiders. But it's about to be a fire sale. Spend it all because it's not going with you through the expedition, and it doesn't seem like holding on to that outside of, again, catch-up skill points helps you in any capacity. Now, there were other officially detailed things about the next upcoming season here with the Riven Tides update, not necessarily particularly pertaining to the update and the content itself, but the update ushering in a new season of it is Trials. Initially, it was mentioned that the last week of Season 3 will end on Tuesday, April 28th at 10 a.m. CEST, 8 a.m. UTC, and 1 a.m. PDT. So about an hour before the Riven Tides update goes out for those that are actually waiting on the update itself. It said trials will be available during the expedition window this time around, unlike previous seasons. So the first thing you need to know is that if you're interested in doing your trials, you have a little bit of time left here on this, but not a whole ton. So make sure you end up completing that grind, trying to rank up once, twice, or even a triple promotion, depending on where you're at here for the last rank up of this season. But furthermore, Trials Season 4 was entirely laid out for us yesterday in a blog post with some major changes coming to it. Firstly, stating they want to give all raiders a fair chance to get stuck in and grind a variety of fun objectives, where Trials will kick off firstly on April 29th, one day after the Riven Tides launch. Major map conditions no longer award 2x modifiers and points there with this, so you're not going to have to try and Q-snipe any specific game mode that may or may not be available when you're around or out and unable to play it. Trials will also no longer be tied to specific map conditions, so that's definitely a nice one, I think, because some of those were way more timing specific than anything else. Trials like disarm mines or the get hit by lightning were the ones they gave as an example, but those of course only being tethered to locked gate, electromagnetic storm, hidden bunker for the codes that you'd have to get from that in the bunker. So if you were not around for the rotation of when those were available per day, you just would not be able to do that trial in particular. So nice to see that those are no longer going to be specific there. They detailed more challenges are upcoming, and without giving any away specifically, they said there are things like melee combat challenges, specific gadget and grenade use points for trial score, and searching unique containers, as they say. They also said they're reviewing how they can improve and evolve trials, one such thing being an unfair advantage due to squad size lacking competitive integrity of the leaderboards. So if you're a solo player, chances are you're not going to get as high in those leaderboards as if you have a squad of 3 that are going solely for trials as well. So that's something they're going to tackle here in the future, but trials will also be a part of this guaranteed adjustment for Riven Tides. Now, as for additional content to come, it's not been officially confirmed just yet or announced. If there is something that confirms this further, I'm assuming it's going to be tomorrow at some point, but we have seen some steady content roll out that we can kind of infer that we may be seeing some more things here at this. Like a new Raider deck is something that I'm personally expecting, though it has not been confirmed at the moment. We've seen Raider decks introduced on every other type of introductions for content updates. So we didn't get one with Flashpoint this last update. Shrouded Sky in February ended up giving us a new Raider deck. Headwinds in January did not. Cold Snap in December did. So it's quite possible that if they do decide to go on that every other alternating introduction, we should be due up for one here at this. Additionally, a new project is something that I'm personally expecting, but again, has not been confirmed. To me, why else would you be seeing the removal of the high gain antenna already if it wasn't to make way for another project? With the whole debacle about the weather systems antenna project that we had with the Shrouded Sky update going away unannounced because they introduced a new project with a Flashpoint, it kind of makes it seem like if this is going away, theoretically we should be seeing it replaced by another one, especially since they're giving us the heads up to avoid that certain situation once again. But we'll have to wait and see. New components and blueprints are more than likely going to be introduced, in my opinion, here with this one, because with a new archetype coming, that'll likely bring along a new core or a component of some kind, but also, if I'm a betting man, something like the Harvester or the pre-updated Aphelion, where it was a Matriarch exclusive, very well could be something that is tethered to the upcoming weapons or how you end up obtaining that. New quests are also something that I'd end up expecting to see with this update, while they're never really like the focal point of what is marketed on the roadmap and the main points you see here as the exciting parts of the update. We have seen about 5 to 6 quests added every single update since the Northline update in November, so I see no reason why that won't be the case again, especially to take us to a new map and explore it a bit further. I mean, we have this entire new area. Almost certainly there's going to be quests that will task you with exploring and checking it out in certain areas, doing specific tasks. So can almost guarantee that we'll see that as well. Now, as for everything else, it is still a relative question mark. What kind of quality of life updates, what kind of weapon updates, or any gadget grenade tuning we see with that, anything in relation to foundational changes to other areas, further adjustments to Scrappy, further adjustments to blueprints, or the skill tree and skill points. We don't quite know at the moment what could end up being any of the more finer footnotes that we see here on every single update, but it's almost certainly not going to be just this type of stuff. But again, the more finer details you don't really ever get to hear about until the patch notes, which will be happening on Tuesday. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. We do have one more day here left in regards to the lead up to Riven Tides, so it's quite possible that we see some teasers or something confirmed further tomorrow, but as of the time being, we don't have the insight into that. So as a preliminary, everything you need to know here, this covers all the bases in my opinion in terms of what should get you ready for, how the updates work, how Embark usually operates. They do drop a lot of stuff historically without giving too much away up front. So what we know so far, this is what you should know. So drop your thoughts down below. What are you guys looking forward to with Riven Tides and the Arc Raiders update here at this, the new map? Anything in particular you're hoping to see in regards to like a new weapon, the new archetype? Let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things Arc Raiders as we gear up for Riven Tides and beyond. We got a busy week upcoming. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Minus my espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.